In this video, we're going to learn about centering content. So here I have a lot of paragraphs that have a border around so we can see where those paragraphs are. And some of them have images in them, and some of them have words in them. And I want to center these. So I want to center the content in these paragraphs. So I can simply go to my paragraph style block. So this will apply to all the paragraphs. And I can use the property text align. And that text align property expects a keyword. It can be left, right, or center. And I'm just going to simply say center. And that will line up, that centers the words inside the paragraph and the images. So any content inside that paragraph will be centered across the paragraph. So this is a very convenient way for centering images, for centering text in a paragraph, and the text align works really good for that. Now, for something else, it might not work as good. For example, this table, if I go and go to the table and I want to use text align center, and here I've already got it here, text align center. I save it, I refresh. What that did is it centered all the content in the table. So you see the words are centered inside the TD. The headers are centered inside the table header. So I have actually set text align to center, but it's to every element inside the table. I don't have the table centered. So in this case, it isn't accomplishing what I want. So the text align won't do what I want. So I'm going to take that back off because in the default mode is the way I want it, which is in the default mode, the table headers are centered, but in the TD tags, it's left justified. And that's what I want. What I want, though, is this table to be centered in the page. Well, for the things to be centered in their page, there are three things that you need. And I'm going to write these in a comment down here. It needs to be a block element. Many elements are block elements already, and if they're not, then you have to set the display property to block. So a paragraph is a block element, a table is a block element, a list is a block element, a heading is a block element, and so those are already block elements. Inline elements like an A tag or an image tag, those are inline elements. So if you wanted to center one of those elements, you would have to set the display property to a block element. The other thing you need to have is a specified width. So the element itself has to have a very specific width. And many things come with their own width. For example, an image has a specified width, right, which is just exactly the width of the image itself. Whereas a paragraph doesn't have a specified width. Let me show you this. A paragraph, look at the size of it change. You see the size? Yeah, because you can tell by the border. The width is 100% of the viewport, right? So however big that window is, that paragraph spans the whole thing. So it doesn't have a specified width. And the third thing you need to have is the right and the left margins are the same. All right, so those are the three things that you need to be able to center an entire element. So let's go ahead and work on that table and see what we've got. So a table, let's look at our options. A table is already a block element, so I don't have to do anything to change that. The table has a specified width too. Oh, I need a P there. The table has a specified width. Now, the width of the table is just big enough to contain all of its content and any padding that you've set. So the table is exactly this big, no matter, and you can tell this when I change the size of the page, the size of the table does not change. It already has a set width. So I don't need to change that, but now I need the right and left margins to be the same size. Well, the easiest way to do that, because when we change the window size, the margins change. So we could sit down and mathematically figure it out for one setting, but then somebody might change the size of the window and all of a sudden the margins need to be different. So the easiest way to do this is to set the margins to auto. And that here I've set all of them, top, right, bottom, left, all the margins to auto. That will make them equal. which it will make the left and right margin equal. And that's the easiest way to do that. So now if I come and do that, there we go. So it has a specified width, it's a block element, and I set the left and right margins to the same size. And so now the table is centered. One fun thing that we can do here, and this is actually a very helpful thing to do, is to make the body centered. So we can go to the body tag and do a couple of things. Bodies do not have a specified width. Body is a block element. So the body is a block element, but doesn't have a specified width. So I need to specify a width, and I'm going to set it at 720 pixels, and that will give the body a specified width. Now, watch what happens when I do this. When I give it a specified width, everything's contained in the body, right? So the paragraphs all of a sudden fit the size of the body. And my table is centered no longer inside the whole window. It's actually centered inside the body because it's contained in the body. So now it's centered in the body at 720 pixels. So as soon as I do that, everything inside the body is contained inside that width. Now, the third thing I need to do is to set the left and right margins the same. So I'm going to do it the same way by setting margin to auto. I'm going to save that and now refresh. And now notice what I have. Now I have, the body has a very specific width. Oh, for our banner it needs to be wider. Let's go ahead and make it wider so it fits our banner. There we go. So now it's big enough so our banner spans the whole thing. Now it has a specified width. Left and right margins are the same. It's already a block element. And so now that body is centered within the page. And now no matter how wide or narrow somebody makes the page, the body stays exactly the same. So everything stays up, just lined up exactly the way we expect, but it's centered on the page.